Get the new bag at Vindicate, VNDK8.com. Vindicate, thanks for all your support. Thank you to all the sponsors, CAPeptides.com, Paper Street Coffee, can't drink enough of that. BirthFit, well, the owner of BirthFit coming on the show sometime in the next month for her third trip to the show. And, of course, the Exerciser, FDA-approved blood flow device for your pineal gland. Quick update. Henrik Haapalainen has made a post on Instagram. Oh, we'll get to that in 1 second. Let's talk to Pedro while we got him. Pedro White, what's up, buddy? Coffee Pods and Wads. Good to see you, dude. I can't hear you, Pedro. Oh, I think you might be muted.
Hear me now?
Hey, buddy.
Is it coming through my headphones or the phone?
I'm not sure, but you sound good.
Oh, okay.
Hey, Pedro, I was just going to talk. I was going to give an update before we get into the workout that we saw today. I was going to give an update on Haapalainen. He made a post here. What are you hearing on the ground there?
Yeah, I think so. He put up a story last night saying that he ruptured his Achilles or a partial rupture of his Achilles, but like, there's no way he got it scanned that quickly. So I'm guessing that.
Pedro White freezes. Pedro's going off of Henrik's.
He's like, yeah, his coach. Yeah, so I'm guessing he probably assessed him.
And Pedro's gone. And Pedro's back.
Oh,
hi.
I'm back. JR will probably know more, but don't you have to wait like 2 or 3 days before you scan something like that with swelling and stuff? So I'm guessing it's all just best guesswork.
Okay, and he's flown back to Finland to get that final assessment. JR, thoughts?
I don't know. I mean, I would imagine the medical team there could assess him and still like administer an initial diagnosis based on mobility of the foot or whatever. You know what I mean? Or just
you've seen enough Achilles tears and you know.
Or just based on like auscultation, like palpation. So if they feel for where it's supposed to be and it's not there and it's like, you know, rolled back up into his calf or whatever. I mean, there are ways to know that it's torn without an MRI, I'm sure.
And Pedro, oh, sorry, I can't unmute you. And Pedro, what about Gabby? Now we're hearing talk that she did not rupture her Achilles, but she has a calf injury. Anything you got on that?
Yeah, I spoke to someone this morning and they said that as far as they were aware, she had a pre-existing calf injury from somewhere around the Open that was being treated and rehabbed through like quarterfinals to prep for semifinals, and that it was no surprise to them that there was an issue, like that when she pulled up they weren't shocked or anything, but they were less convinced that that would be an Achilles issue and that it could be a calf issue, it could be a calf strain, or she could have done something like her body. The words the person actually used was her body could have said, "Hey, what the fuck," doing the rebounds and given her a shock basically to cause her to stop. But maybe she actually didn't do the damage that she thinks she did. But you know, she didn't take the floor today, so that would say that she probably did some sort of damage, significant enough anyway.
And Pedro, I do believe we were talking about this yesterday. I do believe you reported that she was injured even before she took the floor. Or before she did. I do believe you reported that she was injured before she's tried. I think she already did a round. I think she did her heat and then she came back for a second heat. And before she came back and did that second heat, did you report to us in the chat that she had been injured?
No, you said that you heard
that right? Okay. So that wasn't.
Yeah, you said you heard it. Yeah.
Okay. I thought I heard that from you. Maybe I misreported that. Yeah. JR said that he thought it happened there live. Okay. And is she still at the venue?
Not that I've seen, but I don't know.
Okay. All right. So that's the report on them. Any other injuries? Anything else you've seen? What about Emma Tall? We saw her stop at the Pegboard, and there was speculation that she may be out too. That something happened to her shoulder.
Yeah, her shoulder's really heavily strapped. Like all weekend for every event, she has a ton of tape, like that kinesthetic tape or whatever, all over.
Pedro competing for bandwidth with
where her
20,000 other people.
Yeah, she could have also gotten to a point where it was what would you call it, like a law of diminishing returns, where it just becomes, okay, maybe I should just stop doing this so that I'm okay for the rest, because I'm probably not going to finish it anyway. Which also seems to be the case for Danielle Brandon, where she was really struggling with one of the traverses, and there seemed to be a conversation going on between her and, I'm not sure if it was her agent or a coach, saying, hey, maybe you should just like cut your losses here and stop, rather than impact the rest of the weekend, like save yourself for something that's coming later. So that seemed to be kind of a common trend across the people who were struggling a lot with the pegboard.
And you, but Danielle's wasn't injury. Danielle's was just a
No, that was
strategic.
Yeah, it looked like, from the way that she was reacting every time and the way that she was, her frustration levels and stuff, I think it was that her forearms were just cramping or tight, that she just couldn't, like, she was constantly stretching her forearms between every bout of annoyance. And I think that it was just an inability to get far enough across to finish it, and then getting kind of pissed off, like, you know, she was kind of taking a knee for a while and stuff. So I think hers was like forearms, and then it just became a thing of like, right, well, I might as well just stop and wait, and then be fresh for, you know, if there's more grip stuff coming.
Okay, and yesterday we were talking about the rebounding, and maybe that wasn't appropriate for competitions. But now, do you believe that Gabby's had nothing to do with the rebounding? Like, if you were to bet on one side or another, do you think she came in there with a pre-existing injury that had nothing to do with the programming of the event?
I mean, she didn't rebound the first time, and then she didn't rebound the second time, and then she injured herself. So I mean, it definitely played a part. It's interesting. I was speaking to Emma McQuaid's coach, James Jousey, he's like a very well respected like physiotherapist, and he works with a lot of athletes who he doesn't coach across Europe. Like, they'd bring him in to do movement screenings and that kind of stuff. And he was of the opinion that rebounding is fine, and that you know, that it's 5 reps, so it's not like it's crazy intense. And he didn't have an issue with it. And I kind of asked him, expecting him to echo what the guys have been saying. So it's just interesting to hear a different perspective, that he was kind of saying that, like, no, it's five rebounds. Like, it's nothing absolutely crazy that these athletes shouldn't be able to handle. So just kind of seems like it's shit luck for Henrik and Gabby, really.
We don't have a leaderboard yet, but John Young has made some rough estimates and been kind enough to share them. John Young's predicting that Jeff Adler's still in first place. 60 points behind him is Fikowski. 85 behind Jeff is Ricky, with 85 points behind Jeff is Ricky. 110 points behind Jeff is Hopper, and then Dallin is 120. So basically, we've had a big shakeup, and it goes Jeff, Fikowski, Ricky is what we're guessing, and then Hopper and Dallin fighting for that spot on the podium in 4th and 5th. And with women, the prediction is that Laura's 50 out of first place, Gabby's 125 out of first place, Gazan's 155 out of first place, and Manon Anganese is 180 out of first place. It would be a tremendous and Ariel shit the bed on that workout, and I think she's completely out of contention. Yet it would be an incredible move for Manon Anganese. That 3rd place spot is wide open since Gabby's not going to be participating anymore. So it's Manon and Gazan now fighting for that 3rd place. JR, are you surprised at the women's performance on that pegboard?
I mean, going into it, I knew that there would be a big separation between the haves and the have-nots, like between the females that were really, really competent and the ones that really, really struggled. But I still don't think I was expecting that broad of a gap.
Would you say it's equivalent to Spieler and Jason not being able to throw a ball at the 2012 games, 2011 games?
I'd probably use the 2015 pedal to the metal pegboard as a better example, since it was the same implement, just in a different direction. Like, that's what it reminded me a lot of. And you hear you and Pedro were talking about strategies of some of the athletes and their coaches, maybe telling them, hey, look at the leaderboard, look at who's finished the workout, look at how many of you are trying to fight for one traverse. is it really worth 5 points on the leaderboard to try 5 or 6 times just to finish one spot higher when you need your biceps and your grip a lot with the heavy jump rope in the next workout? And we still don't even know what the last workout is. So is it worth hand tears? Is it worth and you remember that in 2015, right? Katrin was like, hey, due to the scoring system, I'm just not gonna try so that I can go really hard on the next workout. So it was interesting to me to see the range of struggles for sure. And not so much with the men, but there were still like men that, I mean, look at Sam Cornway. He was crushing, and he had that same technique that Brent and Laura had. And then one fail made him go back, and it's like, okay, no big deal. I failed 1 rep, and then that became 2 and 3 and 4 reps.
Yeah,
that was a huge capitulation. That Conroy, that's insane. Like I don't know, was it mental or physical or what? But he fell apart completely when he missed that rep. You could see him watch when Yanni was crossing the finish line. He was just on his hunkers watching him cross it, and then he failed it like 2 more times after that. It was just his head just totally went.
I would chalk this up as one of the 3 most. Go ahead, Jer.
I've just received word that Sandbag cleans are in the finale. So I don't know what the details are, but I just got a text that Sandbag cleans are in the finale.
Okay. Which is nice. Which is nice when we think about all the hand tears. Someone like Danny, who might do extremely well at sandbag cleans, as she showed at the CrossFit Games, that will mean that her hand tear won't play as big of a role as if it was heavy deadlifts.
I've just gotten. I'll send it to the group too. So for the men, a lot of people have guessed some kind of form of grace or whatever. So it seems like the finale is 30 sandbag cleans per time, 15 at 150, 10 at 200, 5 at 225 per time.
Wow. Okay. And what was the heaviest bag they used at the games? That I think it was Ricky and Guy and maybe Justin made it too. For the men, did they get to 300?
Yeah, it was like I don't remember exactly what it was.
So 225 is doable.
Whoa. Oh, yeah. I mean, so the dual 2, which was the year they used the heavy jump rope, squat snatches, and you loaded 1 sandbag to the pedestal and then ran across the finish line. I don't know if you remember that or not. That was a 250 bag for 1 rep. That was just 250. So this will be fast still. Okay.
Michael Pilardi, 350, I think. Thank you, Michael. David Weed, 350. Thank you. And I won't be saying thank you to you for the rest of the year. Okay. I do want to say, chalk up what I saw, the performance on the pegboard, I would say is a tantamount to the softball throw or watching the girls ride the bike, or like JR said, the pegboard that year at the games. It was a beyond a pathetic performance. They should be embarrassed at the lack of training, and their coaches should all be taken out and beaten in the public square. That was absolutely horrible and pathetic showing. It is a to not be able to do that. A moderate someone who just does pegboard once a week, just as a casual, gym goer, could be done better than the women. That was truly pathetic.
So in that situation, are you on the side of
you switch camps?
Are you on side of not enough testing? This is going to be too hard. Or are you on the side of, hey, there are 2 red sections. Let's just make the women do 1. Let's make the men do 2. Or are you on the side of you should have announced it sooner than that so that they would have had longer to practice, so it would have looked better? Or do you think they just should have waited till they got there and just show them, yeah, you're going to do this? Like, do you think it wouldn't have mattered if they would have just waited until the day before? Is that kind of how you feel?
I don't have an answer to your question because I don't know, because I don't mind them necessarily looking pathetic, and it was truly pathetic. But that being said, and you weigh in on this too, JR, I do think that after the pegboard, that first year of the women being exposed, they were never exposed again. And so I don't think it will happen again. But I mean, it really showed a complete lack of aptitude, capacity, athleticism. I mean, it was pathetic. Fikowski executed almost perfectly, which doesn't. I mean, I was even surprised how poorly Medeiros did as a former wrestler. But the technique that Yanikoski used, that's technique I used a lot too, where with the lead hand, you switch it to the pencil grip and choke up on the peg and slip it in the hole and then re-grip. And you always do that with the lead hand. And then, of course, there was there was another technique. I can't remember who was using it, but it was a pull-up technique just to buy enough that half a second split you need to sight the hole. And who
I think maybe Saxon and Chandler were both doing that.
Yeah, that's not a bad technique. And then of course the tech, and then the risk with Yanikoski's technique, and you and I were talking about this, is when you go to that pencil grip, if you do miss the hole, you can drop the peg because you don't have a strong grip on it. But every single one of Yanikoski's placements was precise and identical. He started at the bottom and wedged in, started at the bottom and wedged in. And then Fikowski took the most risky technique that, you can do if you have, just a tiny bit of practice on the board. And by that, I mean, just use it once a week, just work it in once a week. A lot of people don't like to train the pegboard. They're afraid they're going to get that, whatever that, I don't know if it's called tennis elbow or whatever, but that little nodule pain there that you can get. Pathetic. I've made back in my youth, I made tons of pegboard videos on my Instagram account that was dropped. I fucking, and maybe that's why I'm so critical, but I didn't see anyone there who was even, I could have done that faster than any of the athletes there, men or women. And I'm just a fucking, fat kid who got picked last in high school. So I found it, and I have 6 pegboards mounted on my property too. So I just don't think that I was really shocked. I did not enjoy watching that women's event. The men's event was better because it was competitive.
What was surprising to me though, which it wasn't a lot of fun to watch from a racing standpoint. Obviously it was more so for the men, but how it was fun to watch is it did create some drama. So there were a lot of instances on the male and female side where people got 1 or 2 holes away and failed. Did that over and over and over. So it was almost like it was kind of tip of the hat to the programmers. At least the distances seemed correct because they were hard enough to where people could do it, but also like created a little bit of drama. I mean, Jason, I feel like hung on the pegboard for 20 or 30 seconds just to finish the last couple holes on a couple of his, you know what I mean? So it was, it did create some drama. I was surprised the people that did struggle. Like I wouldn't have expected Haley, Danielle, or Ariel to be 3 of the women that struggled on it. So in that respect too, I mean, last day of the competition, you want the leaderboard to flip and you want the leaderboard to do crazy stuff. I mean, this event did that 100%.
Yeah, and I also think that when we did see people like Sam or Ricky make it to the final hole and then collapse, I don't think that was a grip or a strength issue. As much as it was a concentration issue. You know what I mean? I think that like when you have 1 hole left and you fail, I think it's like you got ahead of yourself. You already saw yourself getting off the pegboard. You lost track of where the hole is, and you had to fail. I also I don't understand the grips at all. I don't use grips at all. Don't know shit about grips. But the last thing you want is your hand rotating around the pole or the peg without the peg moving. If your hand rotates on the peg, you need the peg to rotate with it. So to have your hand slipping off of it and losing purchase on it, insane. I also saw some people using monkey grip on the pegboard. Like that seemed absolutely insane to me too. Either wrap your thumb, go from the top to the back to the top to the back. But it makes me wonder. Whenever I see stuff like that, I just trip on coaching. And go ahead.
Well, also too, you got to think about the whole competition. So for a lot of them, their hands may have been beaten up on the log muscle up. So that's one pulling movement. Fair. They did ring muscle ups also in a workout already. They've already done rope climbs. They haven't done any pull-up bar work, but the grip intensive movements have still been there. I don't know what the knurling is like on that Sear dumbbell for that workout either. So I think the grips thing is athlete, coach, whatever. I think it's a good idea just to preserve hand tears. But if it's gonna keep you from crossing the pegboard, then during it you just take them off. Like,
gotcha. Okay, gotcha. Tia two, and what do they do? That's when I see them spin them around on the back instead of actually take them off. You just spin the grip onto the back of your hand, let it flap around.
Yeah.
Okay. Results are in for event 7. Tia took 2nd. Laura took 1st. Gabriella Magawa obviously took 20th, but she was so far ahead of 4th place that she's still sitting in 3rd. And then Alex Gazan took 3rd. So a 1, 2, 3 that jumped Alex within striking distance of a 3rd place. 25 points behind her is Manon Anganese, who took 5th. Ariel didn't do as bad as I thought. She got an 11th.
Yeah.
Emma Tall took a 16th. She is now 80 points out of 3rd place. Maddie Sturt did what she had to do, took a 4th.
Yeah, that was strong. I mean, I was impressed with her on that.
Good on her. Brooke Wells, a 10th. She fought it out. Danielle Brandon, a 16th. That takes her pretty much out of contention for the podium. Rolf Spiegel. Spiegel had a good showing, right? She won her heat.
No, I think Sydney Wells won her heat, but Danny was ahead almost the whole time. Then she had a really bad hand tear, and it didn't look like she was really able to recover from that.
Paige Semenza down here, Amanda Barnhart, Sydney Wells in 15th. Danny Pran took 8th, but is in 16th. Haley Adams took a 16th. That's the nail in the coffin for her. Taylor Williamson took a 9th. What's going on here? Taylor Howe 19th, Emma McQuaid 14th. They are with only 2 events left. They are bye-bye.
Yeah, and I don't want to get too far ahead of myself, but this next workout with the drag rope double unders, volume handstand walk, and the overhead lunge, expect some of those females like that you're saying are out of it, like Haley, some of them, expect them to middle some of the higher leaderboard finishers because that'll just be really good workouts for some of them. So
okay, so they might not be in striking distance, but they might shake up the leaderboard by their placement.
For sure, yeah.
The men, Adler took 5th in that workout, still holds 1st place. Brent Fikowski, wow, Brent really jumped up the leaderboard with that 1st. He needed that. Brent's showing great, getting better and better as the weekend goes on. He had a 5th, a 3rd, and 18th on day 1. Day 2, he had a 6th, a 4th, and a 2nd, and he starts day 3 with a 1st. If Adler has one bad event, Adler gets another 9th and Fikowski can stay on top. Fikowski could finish his career strong. Do you actually think Fikowski's going to retire?
I hope not, man. I mean, I enjoy watching him compete. He's still obviously one of the best. But if his focus, and Taylor's alluded to this, if his focus is the PFAA and he knows that that's kind of what his purpose is in the sport right now, then you can't be a competitor and have your focus on that at the same time. You got to be one or the other. So,
I saw. Let me go back here really quick before I finish the men's leaderboard. I think this is from Laura Horvat's page. She posted. Is that Laura's page? Oh, she wrote, "What about me makes you think that I care about your opinion of me? Your opinion of me is not the opinion I have of myself." Okay, good. When Kiki was interviewing Laura and she asked her about her climbing background and she announced to the crowd and the 20,000 people watching that she used to be the #1 female climber in Hungary. And she said, "You guys keep asking me that." And she, turned red, like she was upset that Kiki was asking her that. I thought that was completely fucking inappropriate. Let me give you a little talk to you fucking athletes. The people asking you the fucking questions out there, they're just people too, and they're doing the best that they can do. Kiki has fucking 35 seconds to ask you 3 questions in front of people, and it's got to be something that hopefully glorifies you and gives you a chance to run with it. You were absolutely fucking rude. You were entitled. And it made you completely unlikable. How about put your arm around Kiki and be like, "Yep, I love my parents. They put me in great sports. I'm so excited I have that background." How about something that shows just a fucking modicum of fucking class or positivity instead of being a fucking arrogant douchebag you are and separating yourself from the rest of fucking humanity. Kiki's just one fucking woman up there in front of a fucking packed house of 10,000 people asking you questions with 20,000 people watching at home. It's a completely missed opportunity unless I'm making the presupposition that you didn't want me to think that you're a fucking raging bitch. Make note of that. You want to take lessons on how to be a good interviewer and help people out. Watch Jason Hopper at the CrossFit Games. Help the interviewer out. Take that opportunity. Don't expect them to carry you. It was a fucking joke. You're an embarrassment to the sport when you do shit like that. Not just to the sport, to humanity. And you're personally missing opportunities to do cool shit. People like people who elevate other people. But you don't care what other people think, so kudos to you. And by the way, everyone cares what everyone thinks. We know that's horse shit. If you didn't care what other people think, you wouldn't write, I don't care what other people think. Olga Mazurovska. Hi. Jeffrey Adler, then Brent Fikowski, Ricky Garrard, Jason Hopper, Dallin Pepper. Poor Dallin. Love me some fucking Dallin Pepper. Is he strong competitor, right, JR? This won't get in his head. He'll still go hard and try to get on the podium.
Yeah, I would. I mean, even for his young age, I would venture to say he's one of the most grounded, mentally tough, like whatever cliche you want to use, short-term memory. I think that he will be pissed about this one, but it's a pretty quick turnaround for the next one, and he'll just forget about it and he'll move on to trying to jump Jason. They've got a good race going there. And then Ricky too. I mean, I wasn't expecting, talking about women, I wasn't expecting to struggle. I wasn't expecting Ricky to struggle on that at all. A lot of people see him. A lot of people see him as one of the best upper body pullers. We saw how well he navigated the low bar muscle up. Also really, really good at legless rope climb. So a lot of people will look for parallels to that movement. But I think as we see, it was just kind of a niche movement that doesn't have a lot of comps. You know what I mean? If you have really, really good grip endurance, then maybe we can assume you're going to do well. But with the ski and the GHD, I mean, it was devastating. I was surprised he did as poorly as he did.
And on top of that, I just view him as being a great athlete. Like, I think Ricky's capable. Like, you could put him in any sport: swimming, football, soccer, fucking throw a rock at the car driving by. You just think of him as just good. I expected him to do better too, or at least not struggle the way he did.
Yeah, and so you look at the last day of competition, and we really are going to see a lot of, like, just say bicep interference. You've got the heavy jump rope. You've got all the pegboard that they did, and you've got all the sandbag cleans. And while a lot of people think of that as like a low body hinge, the way that they're going to do it, right, is still going to be a lot of grip. They're still going to be curling a lot of those lighter weights. Like, I don't know, man. I think that the last two workouts are really straightforward and classic. And I think the people that you would expect going into it to perform well will be those people. Like, I think the shakeup that we got has already happened. And outside of a few here and there lower on the leaderboard having good finishes, I think that the rest is kind of chalk as far as, oh, I wasn't expecting that person to do poorly. Like, I think going into it, you see Jeff's not going to do bad on a sandbag clean workout. You go into it, you see Tia and Laura, they're not going to struggle with a 225 bag. You know what I mean? So,
and also what I'm hearing you say is, even if Dallin were to take first in the lunge double under handstand workout and the sandbag clean, Adler's going to take second, Brent's going to take third, and it's not even going to be enough points, even if Dallin has the best showing ever to get on the podium, because all these guys at the top are so good.
Yeah, I would say those top five right there. I would be surprised if they are not in the top 5 or 6 or 7 in the last two workouts. Like, I don't think anyone in the top 5 is going to struggle on the last two.
Yeah. And I don't think anyone, also implicating that no one on the bottom is going to get in between them. I mean, I guess you could see Guy having just an absolutely amazing final event.
I think he'll probably do good on the next two. I mean, I think he's going to do well. He's, like I said, he's been really impressive the whole competition. But when you look down the leaderboard, like these last 2 workouts, it's probably not going to be what the last workout was, which is a lot of separation time-wise. I think these last 2 workouts are going to be really tight. Like you'll see the top 20 finishing within a minute or so. You know what I mean? Especially on that last one. That last one's going to go a lot faster than people think it's going to go.
Sevi, are some of the strong women competitors men? I don't know if some of them are men, but I do know this with 100% certainty that during this era of complete fucking logical breakdown that we've gone through in the last 4 years in the United States, and much worse in Europe and Australia and the UK. Poor Australia. I don't know if you saw what happened there yesterday. The government was given censorship over their authority over their social media. It's very scary. But there was some question about whether trannies should get their own divisions. And, you know, who cares? Like, that would be great. Give anyone who wants their own division. You want a dwarf division, a tranny division, whatever. But you can't convince me otherwise after watching Strong Woman that Strong Woman actually is a tranny division. It's for women who are transitioning to men. And that's actually what we watched. That there really isn't there isn't a woman strongman. Does not exist. There's men's, and then there's women transitioning to men. I'm guessing the dose of testosterone that those women are on is higher than women who make the transition to become men. So if I'm wrong, I'm happy to be wrong on that. But that was my takeaway after watching that sport. I thought I was actually going to like it more than I did, but I actually did not enjoy Strong Woman. And whether you're offended by what I'm saying or not, it doesn't make it any less fact, you know. So there's that. All right, the schedule is a little unclear to JR and I. We were trying to figure out the schedule. Sevi, have a Strong Woman on the next show. You know, I'll send some DMs out to Strong Woman, see if they want to come on. Do we know the schedule? There's been some questions, right, about when, because I woke up at 2:00 this morning thinking that the event started at 2:17, and then it didn't start until 3. Did everything get pushed like an hour? Oh, starting event 8. Okay, I see them. They're walking stuff out onto the they're walking the pylons out onto the field of play now. All right. Anything else, JR, that needs touching on? Any other topics? Oh, I think you got muted. Yeah,
I was going to say, I think John sent to the group the finale loading for the females. So for those of you that didn't hear it earlier, the finale is 30 sandbag cleans for time, 15 of them at 150 for the men, 125 for the women, 10 reps at 200 for the men, 150 for the women, and then 5 reps at 225 for the men, 175 for the women.
And when you say sandbag clean, do you picture it them just getting it on their shoulder? Are they going to have to put their hand out or any of that weird stuff? Or it's just up there, hip extended, and then down?
Hard to say. I like the to the shoulder with a hand release. And why? Is because if you want to go touch and go, you can. So if you want to take that risk and then re-grip and touch and go, you're able to do that.
Okay. Okay.
So
what,
if you go,
what about though? But
do that. If you go over the shoulder, you can't.
What about I'm trying to remember what year it was, but we saw a man on Anganese doing D-ball slam cleans with 100 pounds. I think it was D-ball, or maybe it was a sandbag, but she was going touch and go. And if you require the hand to come out, it kind of takes a little bit of the athleticism out of it, like building your cycle rate. But then it leaves more in the hands of the judges.
Yeah, it still just shows control. I mean, I think you have to do that to show completion of the rep, unless you're just going to go all the way over the shoulder. And a lot of people prefer to just go over the shoulder. The only reason
you mean and actually let it go to the ground.
Correct. Which is like when they were first programmed.
Yeah, I don't like that. I think we're past that too.
Regionals, they went over the shoulder, and a lot of people liked that because you could see the rep be completed. But then also too, as people got more and more proficient, you wanted to see the touch and go for people that wanted to chance it. You know what I mean?
Carolyn Prevost tested it and said touch and go is not allowed. Okay, I'll hold my thoughts on that until I see it executed. But my immediate thoughts aren't good. All right. And must hand release. Okay, interesting.
Touch and go is not allowed, but you still have to show hand release. Interesting. Right. So if you're right, so you have to show control, but then you can't regrip. That's interesting.
So then you just drop it. So then I guess you just drop it.
Correct. Based on that comment, yeah.
I wonder. Any thoughts on times? You think we'll see sub 3 minutes?
Yeah, probably so. It's going to be fast. And I think from a programming standpoint, it needs to be a sub 3 minute workout. They had those really, really short elimination intervals, but some people only did one of those. So I think for everybody to have a power output workout, this fits well.
All right. Let me see what I got here. No, we went through Henrik, Gabby, Emma. We thought maybe Samuel had an injury yesterday, but he seemed to be fine today. All right. We will be back after event number 8. After event 8. Good to go?
Yep, good to go.
All right. Thanks, everyone. Make sure you use the QR code over JR's head to purchase Born Primitive's new shoes. All profits are going to pay for medical fees for soldiers, injured soldiers who can't afford their medical fees. They've already donated $2.5 million. They're going to donate another $2.5 million. It's only available for the next 48 hours. And the shoes are fantastic, the Savage ones, but they have a great line of clothes. JR was giving a testimonial to the joggers a couple days ago when Bear was on, and I stole a pair of JR's joggers.
That's truth.
Not even sure how that happened, but it did. All right. Talk to you guys soon. Bye-bye.
Freedom is never more than one generation away from extinction. We didn't pass it on to our children in the bloodstream. The only way they can inherit the freedom we have known is if we fight for it, protect it, defend it, and then hand it to them with the well-taught lessons of how they in their lifetime must do the same. And if you and I don't do this, then you and I may well spend our sunset years telling our children what it once was like in America when men were free.
Shop the new Freedom